open sale. So there we go. Let's just move that over there. Oh, gonna have to get a bit closer. So, current session. Good afternoon from New York. I'm guessing this is post New York Comic Con. Hope you're having a good time on the East Coast. Super catching then. So, good afternoon. Did it well in returning reg and got 3 days. We'll try to pick up Saturday in the open sale. I've yet to try a buying group and somehow did okay. Considering that I have been pretty much saying that if you are wanting to land a badge this time round or any time around, a badge team is pretty much the best way to do it. So, yeah. Let's have a look at this. Michael P saying hello, good morning. It's Cavi here. Current session, got 4 days, which I wanted and bought for 2 others in my buying group. Passing the word forward, that's what it's all about. So that's excellent stuff indeed. Right, so welcome along to Talkin Con, a cup of tea with Englishman in San Diego. My name is Leonard Sultana. I'm going to put that over full screen. Come out of that. Come on, you. There we go, a bit better. Right, perfect. Yes, this may be a slightly shorter show than I planned because the main guest that we were going to have on, who has been liking and resharing the kind of advert posts that I've been putting up for the last week, has vanished and has not showed up. He may have been messaging. He could have been. He may just drop in. But that gives us a bit of time to talk about pre-registration. That's obviously one of the big topics, when especially comes to you. When I say I've been off the grid for the last 36 hours or so, I kind of mean it, because from 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, I've either been on the road, asleep in a car park somewhere for 45 minutes, or DJing at a gig. So I have not been able to keep up to date with everybody's experience when it comes to the badge set. So please do jump in on the comments and let everyone know. Let's find out how everyone did. This is the cafe, the intro cafe bar at the Brewery Arts Centre here in Kendal, which we've been attending, the Lakes International Comic Art Festival. And yeah. Sound quality isn't the best this week. Oh well, so let's see if I can do something about that. 1 second. Let's turn the mic on for webcam. That might be a little bit. That makes life a little bit better. Let us know if that's improved the mic, because we'll use the mic from the actual webcam. So we'll see what happens. Right. I was only available to attend on Sunday. I basically arrived into Kendal 8 o'clock this morning, driving throughout the night to get here from Cornwall. So I've only been here the 1 day, and unfortunately it did look like I brought some of the bad weather with me. It's been a bit wet.
Yesterday was lovely, but today's been extremely horrible, shall we say.
Fair enough. Okay, well, we'll start with yourself then in terms of what you have seen, because I'm guessing you came here for the Friday. You've been here for the full duration.
Yes.
Go for it then. So, what's been some of the highlights, and how did the weekend start?
Well, it started. I got in. I missed the opening ceremony because we had to go and grab some dinner, unfortunately. But I heard it went well. I think Charlie Adlard won a Sergio Aragonés Cartoonist Award, which is. They're lovely looking awards. I remember seeing them last year, and obviously Charlie is a stalwart of UK comics, and fair play to him. Unfortunately, I missed the ceremony. But
something else.
I'm sure he crotched himself rather well,
yeah.
And it's not the first award he's had, obviously. So we had that. Saturday, there was a good mix. You had Michael Lark, obviously, as a man with a very impressive CV. Most recently, Lazarus for Image with Greg Rucka, but also a CV that includes Daredevil, Gotham Central, a lot of great books, very distinctive artists. Scene of the Crime, of course, with Sean Phillips is attached to the show.
Indeed, I do know that Caroline, my better half, does not watch these shows, so she may. At least I don't have to mention that she's a big fan of Lazarus, And so if she ever
Well, it's a
found,
comic, obviously. Oh, you mean it shows? I see. Yeah,
no,
sorry.
she's a huge fan of the.
Does she like Rucker? Does she like Rucker?
She likes Rucker's writing, but she really likes the artwork as well.
Okay.
And yeah, so if she found out that I didn't bring the books to have them signed, I don't think I'll be staggeringly popular in my manner. So, but okay.
So yes, there's Michael Lark, and there were a lot of other good panels. There was.
Well, because with the clock tower.
Yes.
Was that open on the Friday as well?
Well, no, it started on the Saturday morning.
That's on the Saturday morning.
Friday has like a staggered launch, which just has the panel, the opening panel to the awards ceremony.
Gotcha.
And then things open properly
here in the
Brewery Arts Centre. And then the clock tower opens properly from the Saturday morning through to Sunday afternoon.
How have you seen or felt the changes this year? Because I didn't attend last year. I wasn't able to make it.
Yes.
So I'm basing my experience off
2 years ago.
the 2 years and the year before that as well, because I have been a relative repeat customer.
Yes.
It was just last year I missed. But we haven't had the Shakespeare venue
not this year,
being used.
It was used last year, but not this year.
Yeah, we've had the room in the back here at the Brewery Arts Centre being used for the international.
Exactly.
Yes. How's that felt? How's the use of space been for you?
Well, I think it's been quite a good mix. Obviously, Brewery Arts Centre is a nice purpose-built space that has a cinema, but it's really good for festivals. Clock Tower is a nice space. I mean, it's a very grand place in the town of Kendal. I know it's the town hall, I believe.
Yeah.
So it is used, and it is used well. There's a good mix of people. There's a good mix of the Clock Tower.
To have those 2 rooms on the ground floor,
yes,
and then you go up the stairs, and you've got the large room upstairs.
Well, it's very well signposted, and everyone knows. I mean, admittedly, I've been here before, so I know where things are. But I think they do a good job of signage. People come in, they work out where people are signing. Some people sign upstairs. There's obviously the page 45 room, and there's also the general rooms where people are selling their wares.
Sure.
I have to say that in terms of signage, this is a very good show.
Cool.
And for neophytes who haven't been here before, they know where to go. And that's key. That's essential. You have to know where people are. You have the maps out. They have very helpful people downstairs if you want to ask where something is. So you have a great team as well.
I'm also, I mean, when it comes to this use of space throughout Kendal, because at the end of the day, it is very much it's all about using the spaces within the town. So, like I say, the Shakespeare wasn't used this year, but they were back in the Westmoreland shopping centre,
and the library, I think, if I'm right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a
exhibition.
Is that Duncan Fagredo? Yeah, Duncan Fagredo, Hellboy.
Oh, okay. Which unfortunately I didn't get the chance to see.
I'm going to try that in the morning.
I'm sure it's for normal art, so I might try and check it out before I leave as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of, there's always some
There's
really
a Smurfs
good,
exhibition in here.
Upstairs.
I admit I didn't check out, even though I was a huge fan as a kid. So I doubt I'm going to get a chance to see it, but
I did. I popped through because, like I say, it has been absolutely hammering it down. So I've been. There's a really good way of avoiding nice little rabbit warren to try and avoid the rain, but you have to go through the Smurfs exhibition. Yes. And what I really liked, as well as the original artwork on the wall, and you also had the descriptions and the talking about the history of Smurfs. Yes. You also had a pile of Smurfs books next to a kids' reading
everyone
area.
loves as a kid.
And you can just
essential. It's about diving into the books, because the books were there first.
Absolutely.
And then you have the figures and all of the other paraphernalia. But without the books, there would be no Smurf figures or any of the others. All the costume, which wasn't great, admittedly. I remember watching as a kid. But Smurfs is a huge cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it's still a huge, and it's important. The books are amazing.
I was very glad that they didn't talk about the animation. It was all about the original comics.
Yes, of course.
So that
was where it all started. It's
absolutely.
Where it started.
So that was
first one's about comics. And that's perfectly right, but it should be about the comics.
Sure. Did you catch any of the panels this time round?
I didn't catch many. I caught Michael Lark, which is fascinating because they set up the Wacom and they showed him drawing, and they showed him. You see him work. So he had like I guess it was like a 3D Daredevil image that he would trace over. But I'm doing him a disservice by saying he traced over it, because he's a phenomenal artist. To watch him create this image from this other image, he makes it look so easy, and it isn't easy. And he's a very talented man.
Sure.
And he talked about creating the 3D backgrounds for Lazarus, which he hasn't managed to currently do, but he's going to be switching over to it himself. And it's fascinating how comics has evolved and changed. It was the old days, you had people who would spot blacks and they would do backgrounds, but the man he uses is I call him like a 3D technician. this is phenomenal. This man is
That's interesting.
talented artist in his own right, and he's talking about how the different elements fit together.
Sure.
You know, and it's all about the tech as much as it is about just drawing the comic.
Yeah, and the great thing about the way that they've got it set up here at Kendall as well is that all the rooms do have the ability to show that tech on a big screen. So it's a great AV. Yeah.
And they know their stuff, and this is the 7th year they've done this, so
they kind of
they've got it down to a fine art.
Admittedly, they I would say, in terms of that, there has been no change from, say, 4 years ago. No. But there's been no need to.
No.
They've
built up a great momentum.
Yeah, they hit the ground running pretty much for this show.
They've had a niche, which they've created, and they've managed to build on that. And their aim was to do a European-style festival in England, and you can't knock them because that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah,
they've created a European-style festival in the northwest of England, and more power to their elbow. And I mean, to create 7 shows, that is impressive.
But off the back of that, then, and we can't just blow smoke up any of the organisers' ass. Absolutely, we have to be as balanced as we can. Certainly, the guest list for me this time round hasn't felt as strong.
No, that's true.
And it's felt a little bit like that when, say, for example, in the Clock Tower, you would have some real superstar guests.
Yes. Some American talent.
Some American talent. Well, I mean, the likes of Kieran Gillen.
Yes. Stuart Immonen.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking up table space inside the Clock Tower. Yeah. This time it has just been
European,
small press and independent. But I mean, admittedly,
some very strong people.
Absolutely. I mean, even in that scale, it's been great talent. It's just that it's felt that
the focus has shifted a little.
Absolutely. I mean, you were talking that the guest list for this particular show, it's the American talent has not been here, but I feel it is more of a European show.
Yes.
While by the end of this month, that may be all a moot point.
Yes.
Yeah, it is absolutely. But for this show, it is very much trying to be
Angoulême,
absolutely here in the Lake District. So in that regard, it has been pretty impressive.
Yes.
I mean, if we just go through the guest list, let's go.
There's been a very strong Danish presence.
Absolutely.
Which is impressive because Denmark has a very impressive comic industry.
Yeah, let's see if I can just put that there.
See if we can go through the guests.
Yeah, so at least I can just bring it up onto the screen so we can just let everyone see. Yeah, absolutely. There it is. So if I just drop that and then share the screen and bring up application. Oh, Trump tab. There
you go.
That one. So this is the kind of guest list as we've seen.
Yes.
And I mean, Declan Sharvey.
Great artist, very talented writer.
Good to have him join the.
David Rubin is, who I haven't actually seen here, is a very talented artist.
Absolutely.
And he's done work for Boom and a number of other places. And,
Sure. Let's have a look. Duncan Fagredo, of course. Yes. Emma Price, who's the other half
of Siberia.
So it was good to have the family here. Garth Ennis and is been representing
the boys as well.
Yeah, I didn't realise he was based in New York now. So
he's been there for a number of years.
So this has been good to have him join.
But
this gives you an idea. Fabien Tollet and Francis Deschanel.
Yes.
That gives you a representation of the European element.
You've got Hannah Berry, of course, the comics laureate, very talented creator.
Jacob Phillips as well.
Ed Hillier. Joe McGarry from the Cartoonist Association.
Yeah.
John McRae, very talented man, obviously.
Absolutely. I mean, there you go. I mean, your mainstream comic fan here in the UK wouldn't know who these people are necessarily.
They obviously have an impressive body of work.
And again, it's
Kate Charles,
it's tough.
Lawrence Campbell.
Now we're into maybe some names that people might know. Lee Luffridge as well.
Yes.
Luke McGarry, obviously, is the younger. Oh, it's the son.
Yes.
Sorry.
Michael Lark. Mary Talbot, obviously a regular at this show.
Mark Jackson.
Yes. Rob Davis, another very talented. Rob Williams.
This is what I mean.
Sean Phillips, obviously another regular.
Again, he's around.
Taz Johnson, which I admit I didn't see him.
Well, yeah,
very talented man. I'm not sure where he was.
He seemed to have. Yeah, he was not.
And this guy's good value as a kind of very British.
It's. I mean,
it's an interesting site. I
think anyone who's kind of like looking at that may feel that maybe it's not
quite their sort of.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, Liam D is asking, did you see any panels with Garth Ennis? Yes, I did, and in fact, I also recorded that as well. This
so you
was.
hopefully share the audio.
No video of it. Yeah,
video.
Let's see if I do have. I thought I had the. Where did I put it?
What are you looking for?
The. Oh, it's there. Bear with me a second. Look, sorry about this.
We have some recording music, obviously.
So the big, I mean, I like this.
The catalog's always well made.
Always
well put together.
Well, the whole show is
well assembled.
It's incredibly well. It's
slickly
done.
It's here.
It is in there. It is in here. So the listings for the Sunday, for example. Yes, it's the writing game, which is the panel that I recorded. This was Rob Williams, Cy Spurrier, and Garth Ennis. So that's recorded, and I will be putting that up on the Patreon page Tuesday. I think is probably the best bet. And then we had Dungeons and Dragons, which was Andy Diggle, Cy Spurrier again, and Becky Clunan.
And that was about creating fantasy? Or?
Well, no, it was about the relationship between comic artists and their addiction to
It's a shame,
D&D.
it's a shame that Kieran wasn't there, because I know he's not a D&D player, but if you really dive, in terms of world building, I think it's hard, as few other people we can think of, who put as much detail and attention into creating the worlds that they write in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And D&D, as you say, it's been a big influence on.
Well, they did. They also got into the whole thing with the rise of Critical Role, and also how because it was really interesting as well, considering they got Cy Spurrier on that panel. Cy Spurrier has only played one game. He's just getting into it, and he actually
coming into the other angle.
He came on it, and he actually picked up the mic going, I'm not entirely sure why I'm here.
Yes. So is Andy Diggle a big D&D player then?
Andy Diggle is. He plays twice a week.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Two separate games. And then you've got Becky, who's
a big D&D player.
Big D&D player, but also plays usually on a Sunday and plays virtually.
Seriously?
So they all kind of they use an app, which is
so she can play people from around the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anywhere in the world.
Well, that's the thing. They did talk about the familiarity of a group that you know. Yes. So it's not so much a case of everyone randomly just coming together to do play D. But I mean,
they played together, and any of these people played D&D with each other.
I mean, it's why. Well, I'm actually. It's when you were talking about Thought Bubble. I think if Thought Bubble had a session set up,
do you think that
you would lose a lot of the
because
they'd all just end up playing D&D.
That's funny.
It's really cool. We all know that my love for Garth's work is unmatched. Yes, we do. So don't worry, Leanne. I will be getting that panel up as soon as I possibly can. So pluses and minuses. Like you say, it's a very slick show. The Tates have done a really good job. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what they do.
Well, and they've done it for
not just for the comics.
No,
it's what they do.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
I'm wondering what the continuation of the show will be.
Yes.
For a mainstream comic art group, and I mean, admittedly, they've had a good footfall. Certainly yesterday.
Pretty decent.
Absolutely. But I'm just wondering what the main show would be. What happens next if they continue to focus on this
the European
style attraction?
I don't know.
I'm wondering if it would be too niche.
Perhaps. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not quite sure. I mean, obviously, the European, it doesn't always translate. People who are big superstars in Europe. I mean, for example, I went to Lucca last year in Italy, and it was a huge show. You get like something ridiculous, 150,000 people.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of big stars there, and I admit I wasn't familiar with a lot of the big guys, but the big guys who have huge queues, there'd be Italian, Spanish, French, and a lot of these people, they don't make it out of the European market. And that's no reflection at all on the quality of them or their talent or ability, but it's hard to translate that into interest in a UK show. And as I said, it's no reflection at all on the work that they do, because some of them are phenomenal.
Sure.
They don't get translated, a lot of them. And it's quite hard to create that kind of interest in a UK show. So, I mean, they do have a tie-up with, I'm afraid I can't remember which one it is, but there is a French show that the Lakes have a tie-up with, and they appear and they do events there. So, so there is a direct connection between.
bear with me a second. We may actually be, while we haven't heard word from Matthew Southworth, we may actually have something from Los Angeles Comic Con. So bear with me a second, because we do have the ability to invite.
Which is on this weekend.
That's happening this weekend. I know that. Well, we've got Dan Berry, who's been there, and also not our Dan Berry. There's a
different one.
Different
one. You
one.
mean the Welsh Dan Berry or the American?
There's
several.
Well, that was the fun thing, was it? Not last year, the year before, because the Welsh Dan Berry went over.
Yes.
Did
you meet the American?
He met 4 others.
Well, it's like 6 degrees of Dan Berry, isn't it? Well, that was that program, the comedy program, BBC Two, with the comedian. Another one whose name escapes me.
Yeah. So there's all these different Dan Berrys that showed up.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, we just sent him the link. You never know. I mean, it's like I say,
hopefully
with this setup that we've got with StreamYard now, it actually
makes it easier for people to join
absolutely.
the
People can just jump in. So
great.
Fingers crossed. You never know. We might get that on. Okay. Negatives. I've given you mine.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Well, I guess the guessing is a fair point. I mean, it does mean, I think, that perhaps there is less of a draw than the previous years. I mean, you had the late great Darwin Cook when you only see strong US and Canadian.
Sure.
So I think that is a little bit of a negative. Myself.
Okay. We'll get back into it. I think we've pretty much said what we need to say about late. I'm personally a fan of the show.
I
will continue to support it.
I admire them, me too.
I admire the ambition.
Yes.
So there we go. Dan, however, is joining us at the moment. Hello there, Dan. How are you, sir? Let's just see if I can move that. How are you? This is where we get.
Hello, Dan.
This is where we get typical convention center signal. I mean, look at those huge breeze blocks blocking the signal, but we're getting decent pictures, so we're getting the idea. So this is Mr. Scotty Young,
one of your favourites.
My man, my main man. Yes, yeah. If you can get him to wave, Dan, that'd be fantastic. That'd be. That'd be great. Yeah, if you can get him to go back. We've got here Jim Starlin,
of course, another incredibly talented.
Wow, I mean, is that Jay Lee? I thought that was Jay Lee that I saw.
It was a brief.
Yeah, this is where Dan now just suddenly goes. Can you get him to just wave at Lenny?
Yeah,
that's exactly what he's going to do. I can see it.
Is that what he's saying?
Well, that's if we can get into the queue, because hello, and that is the X-Men '92 print.
Have you managed to get? Is Dan going to pick one up for you?
I don't know about the print. Well, I've got the cover already because I'm a fan. I am a fan. So Jim Starlin there. Let's just bring me out. Who's that?
I'm not quite sure. I can't see the name.
Yeah, let's just bring. I mean, we don't have sound, unfortunately, Dan.
No.
So either you've muted it or.
We have.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Maybe Dan has.
So Dan may have muted it at his end. It's not.
No.
It's not us. So yeah, sorry about that, Dan. Is anyone at the LA Comic Con? I heard some bad things happening there.
Oh really?
Okay, Dan, we may need to get you on sound because we need to find out what that's all about. I mean, I think the only grief we've had here at Kendall is there has been a stag weekend. I think he's logged out, and I think he's going to log back in.
Yes.
There was a stag
I heard there was
weekend.
a lot of rather
and there was
activity.
Yes, there were a bunch of people dressed as carrots in a fight.
Yes.
Like, if that doesn't sum up Kendall,
comics and Kendall in general, then
yeah. The crowds getting into LACC on the escalators yesterday looked interesting. Okay, fair enough.
Dan's back. We have noise.
How are we doing, Dan?
Hello, Dan. There's some sort of.
We are seriously struggling here.
Yeah.
Seriously struggling. I think it's just signal, Dan. I really do. So it's just a bad signal. But we're enjoying what we can see.
We are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I turned off my headphones, so give me 1 sec to switch headphones. Hold on.
Fair enough. And there we go, some classic Dan Berry framing
fabulous. I mean,
of the floor.
He's like a modern day Scorsese.
He is indeed.
He's the Scorsese of the Comic Con.
Absolutely. We'll be next looking at the ceiling.
And maybe some bins. There's some delightful recycling bins over there.
Yeah, he's.
And then there's a woman in there. And then there's some nice bags.
This now, okay. Obviously, we can't get sound at the moment. He may have turned his headphones off.
Yes.
This is. We had a live stream from a con. Was it last week?
Yes.
The week before? Oh, it was last week. It was New York Comic Con.
Yes.
And the Friday was Sunday, and it was absolutely
insane,
packed.
Yes.
I mean, that's
big crowds for a Sunday.
Isn't it? Just, I mean, we're talking what?
It's now
1 o'clock.
8 hours back. No, it's earlier. 6:30, 10:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So that is open.
That's not too shabby at all.
It's pretty
Brandon
busy.
Easton there, good artist.
This is Artist Alley, presumably.
Yeah, absolutely. I found that the fans cosplaying Gertrude get to the front of the line when it comes to Scotty Young. Listen, okay, can I just say something about Scotty Young when it comes to his own book? Gertrude is from I Hate Fairyland.
Okay.
When it comes to signing his books, obviously he's got a number of the baby variants that he does. And he usually only allows you to sign 10 at a time.
Oh, really?
And if you want any more, you go to the back of the line or you find another signing session and you have to work your way through. At which point I turned around and said, well, yeah, but I've got about 30 of your I Hate Fairylands. He went, oh, no. You could bring a dump truck of those things. That's my book.
Oh, really?
I'll just sign those.
But it's work for hire.
It's work for hire. He usually kind of dials back. Absolutely.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's nicely busy.
Yes,
great
stands.
Great stands. It's looking good. Some good cosplayers as well. Yeah, it's looking great. So this is the Los Angeles Comic Con,
which takes place in. It's not Anaheim, is it?
No, it's not. It's
Staples Center.
No, it's not Staples.
Where is that?
I'm going to have to check. Current session, weekend crowds for New York Comic Con notwithstanding. NYCC still has badges for Thursday on Thursday
That's
morning.
interesting. I wasn't aware of that because they would. I heard
before
the show that they'd sold out all the day badges.
I thought they did.
And Thursday was insane.
Really?
Thursday was completely insane.
Just to explain that, yes, Joel was there.
And it was big. It was for Thursday. It was phenomenal.
When it came to the Artist Alley for New York, did you manage to get down there?
Oh, I did. It's a phenomenal. I've always said that if you took Artist Alley out, it's a show in its own right. It was one of the biggest and best comic conventions in the world. Wow. And it's still a phenomenal lineup.
Fair enough. Sarita P confirms that, Karen, they did not sell out.
No, that's interesting.
Wow.
Because I thought they had. I'm amazed.
Yeah. Karen's session, I was there and I checked status before I went. Wow. Okay. Well, fair enough. I mean, considering, like I say, we saw that live stream on the Sunday and it looked absolutely.
Somebody told me they got 200,000 people at New York. I was told. I don't know how accurate that is.
Well, they add it per day. You
mean they double count people?
Yeah. So if you've got a badge for
Thursday and Friday, you count as twice.
They count as yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of fudge.
So what do you think? Maybe
a little bit of fudge.
300 people? No, it's a big show. Maybe 400. No, it is an impressive show, but they had tickets for Thursday. I'm amazed.
Yeah.
I am impressed. They might have made more tickets available, perhaps.
Yes. Oh, I know this artist.
Oh, what's his name?
I know that artist.
So
damn it. Oh, there you go, Joe Spatito.
That's some nice work.
Yeah, yeah. Very good.
Joe Benitez, another very talented artist.
Yeah. Apparently a little bit of a
diva.
Perhaps.
I've never dealt with him. Comic people being divas. I can't possibly imagine what
are the odds?
What is the world coming to? Okay. Hot Topic is the biggest trader. Is that right? Hot Topic, LA based.
David Mack is probably off doing a panel
I'm sure he's got his beautiful work up there.
Beautiful.
And then we've got...
Hot Topic is the biggest trader. Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Really?
That's a little bit like having Mankind suddenly rocking up to MCM and being the biggest. Yeah. Okay. They gave a whole
bunch to Midtown. Wow. God, that's incredible. I was unaware of that.
Very, very good artist.
Yes. I'm a fan. Inca, who's an Inca, right?
Yeah.
He's best known as Inca.
Yeah.
And who have we got here? Who else we've got? It's a big artist, Alley. Steve Lieber, very talented man. Question, very talented.
Not so great behind a table. He does just sit there.
I know, but he's more of a... He lets his art speak.
He does.
He lets his art speak
Absolutely.
For himself.
Absolutely.
And who else have we got here? We've got some other...
Independent
people.
The one thing I've been noticing certainly about the lineup for LA Comic Con, they really do support not just the big names, but also some really great independent producers of art. So there we go, and it's all it's side by side as well. It's very egalitarian.
So they mix them up.
Yeah,
so they have the big guys in with the small. Like Emilio, I'm not familiar with his work.
No, we know Emilio. Emilio is the same guy, or the same kid. He's like 15.
Seriously?
And he's stunningly good. Really good.
Wow,
I think maybe 15, 16 now. He's if his parents are there looking after him, he's very, very good indeed. So there we go. Super Cat Chick, RE NYCC. Maybe it's just me, but the aisles felt more narrow than last year, causing more congestion.
Perhaps. I mean, it did feel more cramped a little bit, but the last few years it's been getting a little bit like that. I mean, Artist Alley was insane at certain points. Thursday and actually Sunday was nuts from New York, and Artist Alley was. So it's possible it might have rejigged some of the configuration of the hall.
It's a shame to think that they were going to.
And yes, David Mack is one of the nicest people in comics. There's no question about that. He's always incredibly friendly.
My kick in the teeth was I did have some David Mack type covers.
But
the last time I went to San Diego Comic Con, and I went up to see him on the on the Thursday, and he's a gentleman.
He's very friendly and lovely.
But I had to go off to do an interview, which meant Caroline got my book signed, and she just went, "Yeah, he's an absolute sweetheart."
Yes.
Damn it!
You want that to be your privilege.
My little story.
Well, you know.
What can you do? Slow down a little bit. Let's have a look at some names.
We have now.
This Artist Alley looks more spacious. Yeah, it does. But then again, it's like I say, it is a little bit early on a Sunday.
That's true.
So. Okay. It's a shame that we can't get any audio from you, Dan, because I'd like to get your take on the con generally. Certainly with the panels looked interesting and the way that the whole thing was put together. Andrew Dickinson tweeted me a picture. Okay, well, I'll just have a quick glance at that. Anyway, decides to... oh, hang on.
Have you got Matthew?
Matthew has messaged us. Let's have a look. I screwed up. I'm sorry. Someone thought it was tonight. Is it too late? No, 10 a.m. Not YouTube. I completely botched that. I was up early. No.
You're still welcome to join us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Bear with me. You are still welcome to join us. Of course. Live now. So we may be having Matthew Southwood join us. Okay. Just see if I can get this. Oh my word! Okay, no, we did. Yeah, just having a look at this. Let's see if I can just bring this up on screen as well. Bear with me a second. Let me just get rid of that. Oh, hang on. Remove from screen. I want to stop that screen, and I want to bring in a new one. This is the map for LA Comic Con, which I was hoping I would be able to. I don't think it's going to let me.
Oh, it's not letting drag and drop.
No, I can't bring it up. That's a shame. That's a shame. But no, just looking at the line, the space and the lineup for.
That's Artist Alley on the left there.
Absolutely. Look at the size of that hot topic.
I know, that's nuts.
Good God, that's huge. Super Cat Chick, David Mack is also a real life superhero.
Yes,
and travels the world.
He works for the US State Department, working as a cultural ambassador.
Nice.
So he has an amazing life. There's no question about that.
Let's see if we can. Does it work right now? No, it's just.
So you're giving him the invitation.
You can do this on your phone. If you like. So tell you what, Dan, we may be saying sayonara for now, but certainly just to get that sense of the size of the show. It's just you found yourself a little bit of a quieter area now. Who we got here?
Some small press Indigos.
Absolutely. Okay, fair enough. Or as I like to call it, contat.
Yes. Well, somebody's put the con in.
Yeah. If we're going to be a bit mean and nasty about it. We can be.
Well, and it's very gentle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's quite a decent sized.
Is that Mr. Liefeld's?
Is it?
I think it is. With his own little table at the back corner.
Yes, on his
it
own.
is.
Wow.
It looks like he's away from his table.
Yes.
But yeah, Liefeld's got his own table as forever, and I think that's a Hulk Buster. Yes, it is. It's the Hulk armor from Infinity War. If we're going to be accurate about it.
Yes.
Matthew's going to try and log in now.
Hopefully, yes.
So we may be having that interview. Very quickly, if you do want to jump in with comments about yesterday when it came to the badge sale, that's what we'll cover at the end. So do jump in with any of your experiences of the badge sale. Let us know how it went for you. Like I say, we got some stats from how the UK attendees group badge teams did, and I still maintain that the best way to get a badge for San Diego Comic-Con is strengthening numbers.
Really?
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, we're talking 94%?
Got badges.
94, 96 have got up to 4 day.
That is impressive, actually.
That's not bad
That
at all.
That's a good.
Not bad at all. Okay. We are waiting on Matthew.
This is an impressive looking shirt. It's slightly more airy in this
It
particular
is,
section,
isn't it?
But you have got quite a decent amount of people.
Anytime I see kids on a con floor, I'm a happy bunny.
Of course, it's great.
Next to an alien.
Of course.
Of course. Okay.
That's a million eggs.
Yeah. If you're going to feed kids to an alien, or
And that's what you might as well do.
okie doke.
Oh, somebody's coming.
It is. We got possible Matt. I think he's just trying to get his phone sorted. Andrew Dickinson got 2%. Got 3 days.
Oh, really?
2% got 2. 40% of those wanting preview night got it. Sarita P. I was shut out with my ID. That's a damn shame.
Yes.
This I know, the Quick Stop groceries. I know that you had both Kevin Smith and
Who else? Jason Mewes.
Jason Mewes.
They were both there.
Doing a little
bit of a show.
So, yeah, but there was their photo op.
Oh,
They
fantastic.
actually.
Interesting question.
Yeah, 1 second. I just want to let no picture or sound. What's it saying? Sorry, I'm trying to get Matt on at this point, or Matthew. Sorry, I want to make sure. Leanne D. Oh, no, okay. This is a question.
Interesting question.
Hey, Joel, are you worried about Portsmouth Comic Con with a Brexit thing coming up? It's something that we
have to think
discussing.
about. We haven't
Absolutely.
talked about it.
And we have Matt, but do we have sound?
Oh, yes, we do have Matt.
Okay, so.
Oh, here we go. There's a
No,
picture,
I
but
think
no sound.
no sound. They just have to turn his mic on. Oh dear.
Any?
I am wondering if it's me. I remember
Really?
well,
Well, because of Dan. I don't know.
because we've got no sound from
Dan.
Dan either.
No. But you got the mute on. But if you turn it on,
Let's turn his mic on. Let's see what happens.
that's your mic or his.
No, no. You've actually muted yourself, Matt.
Yes,
So
yes.
you need to
Do it your ends.
unmute your mic.
Yes.
So there you go. Dan, I think we're going to have to say goodbye to you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
We're going to have Matthew joining us now. Dan, thank you very much indeed, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Can you guys hear me?
We can now, but we're going to say goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed for that. We'll try and get a bit of a review
Nice.
of that.
Hasta la vista, Perry. Nicely done.
Take care, Dan. See you soon.
Take care.
Okay.
Okay, now we hopefully have
Right. Now then, let's see if we've got sound.
Well,
Say hi. Say hi, Matt.
I don't know me, but I can't hear you.
Remix. Oh,
It's a bit of a bad signal at your end. Or it could be ours.
it could be.
It could be the Wi-Fi in this building.
Matt's frozen now.
Yes.
Matt, can you hear us?
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna try.
And
See if I can.
that's a little better. But it's quite there.
It's getting there.
It is getting there.
Can you hear us, at least?
I'll come back to you.
Oh,
And now he's gone. Oh, no.
there's a snippet of Matt's
He's,
sound.
we're getting closer. We're getting closer.
Yes.
I mean, by all means, tell us if our signal is
It's not
relatively
good
strong. Hello there, sir. We're doing our thing.
We are. I mean, we're joined by
set up.
Yeah,
We're trying our best.
Tim Pilcher.
Yes, that's right.
Hello there, Tim. How are you doing,
Hello,
sir?
everyone.
Yes, this is Tim Pilcher
Pull up a seat if you like.
No, I'm literally
of Soaring
just zipping
Press.
in. Okay, to say hello.
So very quickly then, while we're waiting on Matt to try and sort his issues out at the moment, this is
Right.
Matt's album. You're very quickly, 20 seconds. How's it been this weekend?
Been very good. Yes, we had nice weather. Which was very
Yesterday was
different
nice,
from
yeah.
last year, which it
Yes.
shut down.
Yes.
So that was good. So yesterday was good. Did a panel with on censorship yesterday morning. That
With
was
Mr. Garth Ennis?
no,
Oh, no, you didn't. I know you didn't
censorship.
interview.
We did with Tony Bennett from Knockabout Comics.
Okay.
Darren Cullen, who's an activist and comics satirist.
Yes.
We had Elions, who's a comics artist from the Cameroon.
Yes.
Who else was there? Let's see. Kate Charlesworth, who's just done her book
Yep.
for Myriad,
Yes.
Sensible Footwear. And we had comics out. Charles Brownstein from the
course.
Comic Book League of
It's all
Defense.
about
Still want to meet that guy.
Oh, he's
Still want to
lovely.
meet him.
He's really
around.
funny. And man, he knows his stuff.
Of course.
So
Yeah,
it's,
well,
it's
yeah.
really
It's
good.
their
Absolutely.
business. So.
All in all, you've been to the show before.
Yeah, several years.
What's it been like in regards to other shows? Because we've been saying that the strength of the lineup has not been as strong, certainly for the mainstream audience. It's been very great for the niche European comics fan.
But I think
And
this
the foreign
festival's
fan. Is
always
that what
good
it's
for
been
that.
good with that?
But I like that about this show is that it's got a very international world vibe about it. So you do get to see the kind of creators you don't normally see at other
Sure.
shows.
This isn't an MCM crowd. It's not
No,
that.
no,
it's
absolutely
not.
not.
That kind of show.
And it's all about getting people from all around the world. And so its model is Angoulême,
Sure.
and that's
Yes.
very much what it is. And
Yeah.
so you get to see people from Japan, Finland, from all
Yeah.
over the world that you would never see at a British
Yes, it's when I bumped into Alex Fitch, who was one of the panel hosts here, and he said, "Yeah, I've got this person from Japan. I've got this person from Finland. I have no idea who these people are, but I've got all this talent here. Let's just dive into it." And I thought, yeah, fair play to you. I mean, it's just
That's great. Comics is a great melting pot,
Sure.
and I love that fact that you can meet these people from all around the world, and we all have that similar thing in common, which is comics, and we
Yes.
love comics.
What's it been like in the clock tower?
It was a little quieter today, but I think that was probably the weather.
Yes.
But it was good. It's kind of steady sales. Probably not as good for us as last year, despite the weather. So which is interesting. But I'll have to do the tally up and find out.
You've got all of that
to
to get sorted.
yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tim. Thank you
All
very
right,
much indeed for
cheers.
dropping
Thanks,
in.
guys.
It's a pleasure to have
Cheers,
you.
guys.
Enjoy the rest
Take
of the
care
day.
and a safe journey
Bye,
home, sir.
everyone.
There you go. Do check out Soaring Press.
Soaring Penguin Press.
Soaring Penguin, sorry. Soaring Penguin. Soaring Penguin Press. I mean, I know that pressing mostly for the Breaks book that they've done, the Emma Weiss Shelley pressing of that webcomic. They do a great job of bringing some very unique
Yes, that's true.
talent
Yes.
to
International talent.
international talent as well. So do check out Soaring Penguin. Very, very good indeed. Tim is a fine ambassador
He is
for that
indeed.
particular
Yes, he
group.
is.
Okay. Matthew is saying he's trying to hook up via his laptop, or he's going to try and go that way. So fingers crossed, but we'll see what happens. But we have that little bit of a technical issue. But no, our thoughts just very quickly on LA Comic Con. That looks really
It looked
cool.
like an impressive show. I mean, I've never been, but it looked like a good turnout with a good mix of creators. I mean, America is in some ways luckier with the more mainstream stuff because a lot of these people are on their doorstep. They're either a 2-hour flight away or they're a drive away. Whereas with us, they're thousands of miles away, and to get US talent is slightly harder.
Yeah.
But you know.
So there we go. I mean, we've got one or two people.
I saw Joker 2 weeks ago.
I saw it last Friday.
I thought Phoenix was excellent, but I wasn't necessarily convinced about the script. I feel very ambivalent about this film. It looks amazing. To watch it on the big screen, it looked very cinematic.
Oh, it's a gorgeous looking film. My only issue is any films that have this kind of topic involved.
Yes.
In the past, the issue has always been that you may be too sympathetic to the character. That's not the problem this time.
No.
Oh, and it may inspire.
Encourage copycat behavior. That was the old trope.
That's not the problem.
No.
Not with this film.
No.
It doesn't encourage copycat behavior. It justifies it.
Perhaps.
That's the problem. And not only that, but it goes down the line as well. I got dropped as a child.
I got beaten up when I had my crappy job. My father dumped me. My father's
not my real father.
Exactly.
My father's a millionaire.
Yes, exactly.
I was and it just
all this cast I know.
It just ticks down the line. It gives you a reason to have that one bad day and then go off and kill. I have actually been interested by a couple of the articles that have been posted about some of the theories of the film, including.
Go on.
We won't get into it. I don't want to do spoilers, but certainly there's a confrontation with a character and the fate of that character.
I won't mention it, but I think
yes, you did. And you think to yourself, actually, no, that could actually be the case. That got me. Yeah, there's been when
I always thought the use of ambush bug was particularly.
It's when Michael P says it's thought provoking.
It is thought provoking, but it's one of these. I found it frustrating. I liked some of it. I thought it was a well-made film, but I thought because it was so bleak, obviously we expected it to be bleak.
It was.
But the arc was like a descent into darkness with no light at the end of the tunnel.
I think the thing that I really liked about it is that it has zero comic book reference really. It's a
couple of little nods, but they are very small.
It's not superhero at all. So I mean, I think that's. I thought it was a very clever thing. The only thing that I really, really did roll my eyes at is that seeing those goddamn pills again.
Oh God!
Do we have to see it again?
Well,
do we have to do it again? But that's a whole other thing. I mean, we've got a couple of reviews up on the Convention Collective, and they pretty much said the same thing, which was it's an A-grade film, but
yes. Well, I think it's a C-grade film with an A-grade performance. For me.
I'm not
going to slate it because it was ambitious. It didn't quite achieve that ambition, but I will say that at least it tried to be ambitious, I suppose. When other superhero films we've had.
Michael P. saying it's tragic because he could not get the help he needed.
Oh.
Possibly.
Perhaps.
But I also suspect that he doesn't necessarily want that help. If he did, he wouldn't have gotten the gun. I think he was seeking his own
brand of
tragic
end.
Yeah, I think.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I don't necessarily
he was looking for
agree with that, but yeah, it's like you say, it's a thought-provoking film, and certainly recommend going to see it.
Yes,
check it out. We were hoping, we were fingers crossed. Yeah, I mean, if we see if we can get 10-15 minutes with him.
We'll see, but I'm not sure how hopeful we are. So. Fingers crossed. That was it's 5 minutes ago.
How are we looking? Right. So is there? Well, I mean, okay. So let's very quickly talk about the badge sale while we're waiting on Matt. So this Mark Abner, he's back in Scotland already.
I knew I've never met him before. He's
very good. Okay. So the badge sale yesterday, from what I could gather, the whole process is exactly identical to what we've had for the last 2-3 years now. Certainly, we have one or two slight changes. Oh, we do have Matt.
Excellent.
Let's see if he's.
Excellent.
Excellent.
All right. So before I get started, because you've long since started.
Yeah.
I'm super sorry. I completely spaced this as 10 o'clock tonight. In fact, the whole reason I went on Twitter just a few minutes ago was to go, hey, we still on tonight at 10? And I was like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
So
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just to quickly introduce myself, I'm Leonard Sultana from the Convention Collective. We've got Joel Meadows from Tripwire.
Very nice to meet you.
And you,
Good to meet you,
are Matthew Southworth, the artist of Stumptown. You've had yourself a good couple of weeks, haven't you?
It's been a busy couple of weeks. It's been good, but it's been, I think we talked a little bit about whether we were going to discuss, sort of con experiences and all that stuff. And
yeah, going to get into all of that as well.
Yeah, it's been very hectic.
I mean, certainly for yourself, it's just been very exciting to see the translation of Stumptown onto the small screen. I've certainly seen the first episode.
I haven't watched it. I intend to, but everyone might talk to my brother, and he said it's a very enjoyable, I guess, a light detective series. So congratulations on that. I mean, it's sometimes hard to translate stuff from comics onto TV. So.
Absolutely. So, I mean, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No. I'm just saying, I'm trying to set up a way that I can do this without holding the phone. There we go.
I think the thing that I definitely want to talk to you about then, and I'm trying to do this so we can get this so you're a little bit more, hang on a second. A little bit larger. Bear with me a second.
Yeah, no, take it.
I think we'll just put you full screen, so at least then everyone can see you.
Exactly.
Right. So we definitely wanted to talk to you about your convention experience, because certainly I've been speaking to a whole bunch of creators this weekend and at previous cons over the last sort of 5-6 months about how creators are being approached at Artist Alley, how they approach conventions. How the convention landscape is changing, certainly right about now, and also one or two topics when it comes to charging for signatures. We'll get into all of that kind of thing very shortly indeed. But I think for yourself, I mean, what's been your convention history, as it were? I mean, what's been the shows that you've gone to? What's been some of your favorite shows to attend?
Well, I've been drawing comics professionally now for about 14 years, I guess, something like that. For a long time, I went to San Diego. Now my laptop wants to talk to me. This laptop's going out the window as soon as we get off the phone. So I used to go to San Diego every year before I was really sort of really before I was a professional, and then even as I was just sort of beginning my career and getting going, I was going to San Diego, but I wasn't tabling. San Diego is such an overwhelming media event now that it's very difficult to be a kind of not even struggling creator, just sort of a small creator. If you're not, the going artist on Spider-Man, it's tough to get any eyes on you. Eventually, I got sort of worn out with the San Diego experience, not because it wasn't fun, but because there was so much more just difficulty surrounding it, getting a hotel at the rate, just all that stuff. And so I was like, man, I'm spending a lot of money to do this. I'm going to focus my energy elsewhere. So, I do Emerald City Comic Con every year. I know the people that put that on and have known them since almost the beginning. So I've done that. I don't even know how many times at this point. A bunch, like 7 or something, I do this show called Jet City Comic Show, which is in Tacoma. I used to hate Tacoma. My band played in Tacoma a couple times, and both times they were horrible experiences, and I only saw kind of the crappy side of Tacoma. But Jet City is actually in the beautiful part of Tacoma, which is really great. So if you ever have a chance to go to Tacoma, it's one of those places you're like, why would I go to Tacoma? Well, once you get there, it's great. So I do that show.
That's a new con to me. I'd have to do a bit of research into that one.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a middle-sized show. It's not like one of those, small flea market shows where there's, 10 tables at a VFW hall or something. It's in a convention center, it's full size, but it's not the kind of like get a signature from a guy on Battlestar Galactica kind of show. It's a comics show purely. and it's not snooty about it in that way, but it's just it's got a focus that is purely comics and like science fiction or something. So that show's great. That's put on by a friend of mine named Brian, who used to be involved with Emerald City, and eventually when he split off from that, he wound up doing this show nearby. Actually, I take that back. I believe at one point he was working on both shows at the same time.
Okay.
Anyway, so I do those. I do, I probably do somewhere around 6 shows a year, maybe 5 shows a year. I just did a very small show in Kelowna, British Columbia, which I'd never been to, which was fun. It was very small, but it was fun. And then, this past week I was at New York Comic Con for the first time in 8 years or so.
Wow. That must be quite
which was, yeah. I mean, I go to New York every year because my best buddy lives there, and every year he goes to Florida with his family, so he needs somebody to watch his dog. And I love New York, so it's like an excuse for me to sort of live there for a week or so and pretend that I live in Manhattan, But that's the first time I've done the show in a long time.
Fair enough. I mean, when it comes to the shows that you pick and choose to attend, I'm guessing it is the primarily comics-based shows that you try to go to, or do you sometimes have to bite the bullet and attend the media shows as well?
Well, to be perfectly honest, usually what determines whether I can go is if they invite me as a guest. Because if I'm invited as a guest, they'll usually cover at least the hotel and the table. That's not always the case, but it's often the case. And so that makes it easier. For example, this small show in Kelowna, I'd never been to Kelowna. It's not a terribly long drive from here. It's maybe 6 or 7 hours. I don't even remember exactly. And I live just north of Seattle. And they covered the hotel and the table and all that. So I was like, yeah, it's an excuse to go to a town I've never been to. That'll be fun. A show like New York Comic Con, which is, just a half step behind San Diego in terms of intensity. That was kind of like, I talked to my buddy Matt about it, and he was like, you should do it. Like, Stumptown's coming out the week before, like, do it and see what happens. And I was like, yeah, all right, let's do it. I haven't done it in a while. And it was really great. I probably will do it again next year. So, I don't feel prejudiced against the shows that have, Gil Gerard at them or whatever. But it's more of a focal point if I know that they're going to be. Well, okay, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. I'll tell you.
I plan over that one. Actually.
I did a Wizard World show. I've done a couple of those, and they were fine. Whatever, it was fun. But so I did one of the shows, and it was clearly more media focused. And I and a friend of mine who's a very successful comics guy, we just basically sat there and talked the whole weekend. Like, we really didn't have a professional reason to be there.
Yeah.
I may have sold 5 books. It was just, and I wasn't upset about it, but it's just sort of like, I could be at the movies right now. Like, nobody's coming to talk to me. So, like, what am I doing here? And then I'll do a show like New York Comic Con. I did over $1,000 in a couple of days.
Wow.
So, like, well, this, just the professional benefits are greater. Plus, I was in New York that I love, and et cetera.
So is that sales mostly done through commission sales, or is it through book sales? I mean, what is it that you are most able to make that money from at a convention?
Well, I sold a ton of books, but the first volume of Stumptown, which we're selling for $10 a piece. So that didn't add up to an awful lot of money.
Sure.
But I don't mind that. Like, that's not an issue. I made the book because I want people to read it, or I should say we made the book. But you make some money from books. When we had the Stumptown hardcovers, which were like $30 a piece, you could make a fair amount of money on hardcovers. But of course you sell far fewer of them. and they're
Sure.
$30. Most of the time, I'm making money from a combination of, art, commissions, book sales, that kind of stuff.
Because I'm always surprised, impressed, in awe at artists that are able to actually knuckle down and get commissions done at the table when they are being approached. I mean, you've obviously got a highly successful book. You are going to get people coming up and talking to you and wanting to talk about Stumptown. To actually then knuckle down and get commissions and work done, I'm always blown away by artists that are able to do that. Is it something is it something you've had to learn, that kind of multitasking of kind of getting work done while holding a conversation out of eyeline?
Is it something I've had to learn? No. Is it something I have to learn? Yes. Because the thing I do well at conventions is I'm personable. I like to talk, and I like to talk, about real things. It's not just sort of, how's the show going for you? What are you working on? How'd you hear about Stumptown? It's not a sort of a laundry list. So for me, it's fun to talk to these people and kind of make friends in as much as you can in such an impersonal atmosphere. So I will sometimes wind up talking to several people over the weekend for more than an hour.
Wow.
They'll just hang out and we'll just talk, and I always feel bad that I don't have like a little seat I can slide under the table and give to them.
Well, you're not the only person to say something like that when you want them to, you're wanting to make that connection with the audience and with the people in front of you. But I'm certain that there are some people that are manning Artist Alley that would possibly feel a little bit, blocking some of the space up. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
When it comes to your experiences at conventions, has there been any notable ones where the ones that really stick in your mind about encounters you've had at conventions?
Yes. I had one this weekend or last weekend that was kind of fun. So as I said, I was in New York. My best buddy Matt lives there. My name is Matt. His name is Matt. We were sitting at my table because usually when I go to New York, I don't get to see Matt because I'm there to watch his dog while he's out of town. So I'll see him for half a day and then he flies out. He comes back. I see him for a half a day. So this was great because it meant 4 or 5 days that I could just spend time with my friend. So he decided to come sit with me at my table, and I was seated next to Kevin Eastman of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Heavy Metal and Tundra and all that. Kevin came in later in the morning, and he saw my sign that said co-creator of Stumptown, etc. And he said, "Stumptown, that's a great show. I love it." And he was very friendly. And I said, "Oh, it's great to meet you. I'm Matt." And then my buddy Matt said, "I'm Matt." Great. So Kevin's sitting at his table. He's signing things for people. I don't know if you've ever talked to Kevin. I never had, but he is one of the nicest people I've ever met at a convention.
Indeed.
And like genuinely nice. And he made everybody that came to his table feel super good. You could see they were just thrilled to me. It was like they were meeting Walt Disney.
Me and him, we share a love of Rocketeer. So he will talk behind legs.
Do you now?
Oh, what?
Fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. That is going. I was going full screen.
Hold on just a second.
He's got. Oh wow.
So, I don't geek out about characters much, but this is the one I do.
There you go.
So anyway, so we're talking about artists we love, and we're talking about Richard Corbin, who is one of my big favorites, and talking about my friend Tony Salmons, who is somewhat unknown nowadays, but I think is a real genius. And this is weird. I have audio-visual stuff with me. This is a sketch I just got from Tony. I don't know how well that comes out on camera, but
it comes out well enough. Absolutely.
Yes.
Tony's brilliant and idiosyncratic and strange. Anyway, so we're talking about all this. This is a long answer to your question, but we're talking about this. my buddy Matt has gone away now. He's off doing something somewhere in the con. Kevin's talking about the guys he likes. I'm talking about the guys I like. Kevin points down at the artwork on my table, which is my portfolio laying open. And he's talking about what he likes in certain art. And he goes, now see, this guy knows what to leave out. He knows how to abstract things in an interesting way. This guy's really good. And it dawns on me, he thinks he's talking about the guy that did the artwork being my buddy Matt. So he's complimenting him like full bore, but he's complimenting me, you know. So
that's why you don't correct him for a while.
Of course not. You're basking the glory for a little bit longer.
Right? Yeah. I was like, I'll ride this for just a minute and see where it goes. You know. Then he started talking about. Oh, I can't even make that joke work. Anyway, so I said, "Oh, you know, no, that's mine. That's me." Like, oh, and he blushed and he was embarrassed, you know. But it was cool because, you know, I'm very self-critical and doubting, and I would be thinking like, he's saying those things to be nice to me, but he didn't think I was the guy he was complimenting. So I had to take that as value, you know.
I think it was good that he was complimenting a very specific element of your artwork. It wasn't just it's strong lines. It's, you know, the way that the ink work's been done. He's talking about a very specific way about how you're structuring your panels and how you're structuring the way that you do your artwork. I think that was a nice thing to compliment you on. Yeah,
it was very flattering, and it's also exactly what I'm trying to do. So it was, you know, he was pinpointing something that's a goal of mine. So I guess I'm getting it. You know, I guess I'm succeeding in some way, because Kevin certainly knows art. He's made a bazillion comics and published a bazillion more artists, many of whom I adore. So it's flattering.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about the frustrations of doing a convention, especially.
Now we're talking.
He's getting into the meat of it
Here we
now.
go. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, in 2019, certainly when I've been talking to artists now, the whole growth of the media show and the kind of the decline of the niche comic book convention. And that some artists are having to travel further and to attend more shows to make a return. Is that something that you're finding? I mean, what's your take on the current con landscape?
Well, this is a strange time in my career. It's a very positive time, but so my sample of what's going on is skewed. I was not making enough money at cons that I could count on them as a significant revenue stream. There are some guys like Michael Golden. I don't know if Michael Golden even draws comics anymore. He does tons of shows and does, you know, lots of commissions at shows and appears to be very successful. He's always busy, and that's no slam on Michael Golden at all, who I think is really fantastic. It's just it appears, and I'm in no place to really say, but it appears that that's his primary source of revenue, at least in the comics world, is doing shows. That's not true for me, because I just don't make enough at shows to do that. Therefore, like, I don't really look at it as like I need to, you know, now I need to go to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and now I need to go to Champaign, Illinois, and now I need to do the show in Cary, North Carolina, or whatever. I just kind of do the ones that would be fun to do. Things that are close to where my mom lives, for example. If I can fly to see my mom and then drive a few hours to a show like Heroes Con in North Carolina, which I haven't done in a few years. I love that show, and it's relatively close to Nashville, where my mom lives. So that's a, you know, long way of basically saying I'm not the best person to ask about that particular element of doing shows, I guess.
Fair enough. And certainly one of the conversations that I've been having with artists over here in the UK is about the conversation about signatures and signing artwork and signing books. and charging for them, because there has been the rise of a number of agencies and agents that are wanting to make their cut and make that attach that value to that signature. When you do have artists like Declan Shalvey, that's like going, no, well, I've got a fan that's bringing a book to me. I mean, how can I?
Already paid for the
and
book.
They've already paid for the book. How can I refuse to scroll on the book which they've brought to me?
Right.
I mean, what's your take on charging for a signature, for example?
Well, my first take on it is I really like Declan Shalvey and wish that I had gotten a chance to say hi to him in New York. I saw he was there, and we've never met in person, but we were doing some Marvel work at the same time, like in the same book. Like I would do 4 pages in a book or something with him years ago. And so you mentioned him, and I immediately go, should have said hi to him.
Well, I think the other downside to some conventions as well is
It's too big.
you can't see everybody.
No.
And I love following Twitter feeds after a convention like New York Comic Con, where it's just, I wish I could have seen you. I wish I could have seen you. I wish I could have seen you.
Let's see. Let's see what happened.
Hello?
Someone called me. I don't know if you can hear me. Someone called me and it shut you off.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Hello?
Oh, okay.
Just wondering if we've lost sound. Are you there?
We lost the Wi-Fi.
Don't know if you can hear me. I'm gonna have to jump back in and see.
Yes, we can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Audio.
Exit. We've now lost him.
Oh, okay. Should we do some well?
We were. We'll see if he'll be able to come back on. I mean, it's 7:10 now, and
We start to wrap up soon.
we'll wrap up soon. So we'll tell you, we'll cover a couple of the comments when it comes to the badge sale. 3 to P preview night sold faster than I thought. As far as I'm aware, it was the same kind of numbers that we have seen in the last couple of years, and Matt's back. So let's see if we can do something with this kind of.
Yeah. So the person that called me, by the way, was my buddy Matt that we were just talking about.
Of course.
So I figured I'd bring us into a different venue and take advantage of the break so we can be somewhere more dramatic. The last thing that we were saying, I said, I should have said hi to Declan, and that was kind of the last thing I heard of you guys.
Well, but I was just saying that the thing about conventions is following Twitter feeds directly after a show like New York, where every single artist is like, I wish I could have seen you. I was too, you were too busy, and we never see each other.
Right. Yeah. I
was got a guitar. We have a prop.
Wow.
Fantastic.
yeah. More props.
More props.
This is a guitar I just bought recently. It's a Supro Trem Electric. Shows are tough because you have a job to do, obviously. But it's also, comics are a pretty isolated job, so you don't see your friends very often. And a lot of these people, like I saw Stefano Gaudiano, who lives in the Seattle area and who I'm personally close with, who I never see. So I had to fly to New York to see a guy who lives, 20 minutes away. But to the question of charging for signatures, I can't see a justification for me to charge for signatures at all. I can understand when you're Frank Miller or Stan Lee or someone like that, where people are reselling something just because you signed it for hundreds of bucks. Why shouldn't you get some of that money somehow, But at the level that I'm at, I sign and sketch every book that I sell, and the sketches are fairly programmed at this point. Like I do the same sketch every time in the first volume, and I haven't quite settled on a sketch for the second volume yet. But to me, like the thing that I used to love about comic conventions, which is less apparent now, but still exists, was that clubhouse sense, except that I never viewed that clubhouse as, there are some people who think like the clubhouse is for, middle-aged white guys who liked whatever Dark Phoenix when they were 12. To me, when I was 12 and liked Dark Phoenix, I was desperate to find a girl who also liked Dark Phoenix. So I still feel that way. I still feel like, yeah, this clubhouse is cool. Everybody should come in. If you're a librarian that's never read a graphic novel, please come in. I'll show you why I like this stuff. I'll show you what I like. It's not some sort of political sense of inclusion. It's like that makes the whole thing better. It's more fun. So again, long answer. I'm the king of the long answer, obviously. I don't want there to be any barrier to somebody getting something that makes the experience more fun or more personal for them. And so if I'm charging someone to sign something, I feel like that's creating an artificial fan/pro schism that I don't want there.
No, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I think the reason why it's become more prevalent, and it's certainly a topic that comes more and more often when I talk to comic pros, I think it's because of the audience that they're seeing at a convention nowadays. The people that are coming to you to have your book signed are people who are wanting to speculate. It is
right.
Like people with a disposable income.
They're looking to buy something that they're hoping to maybe flip.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Right.
But then again, I think the other thing that people are starting to see is a slight shift in the audience. Like you say, you're seeing an audience which you can be more inclusive about. And I'm always on this show really advocating those shows that encourage a younger audience to come through the door, an audience that is not your traditional, like you say,
sure.
that middle class or the white heterosexual male kind of audience.
Right.
Is it something you're seeing at the conventions that you're going to? Is the audience changing that in recent years, perhaps?
Oh yeah. I had a friendly argument with an old friend on Twitter. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I said and he's a comics reader, he's a playwright. I said in passing, the most devoted comics fans are like women in their 20s. And he was like, that's nonsense. It's the boys club. It's blah, 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 blah. And then I looked up some statistics that showed how that audience was growing. And I've definitely found that to be true, that the people that are most excited about comics are definitely women, in their 20s, even into their 30s, actually. Now, part of that is skewed by the fact that I was doing a female-centric book that was not, sort of swimsuits and tits and ass and all that. I was about
to say Dex is definitely a character which, it's someone that's going to have a definite change in the usual demographic.
But Greg is
right.
real characters
as
well.
So. That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, Greg skews that way to one direction, but I've watched it since then too, and I still see that. I still see there's more passion in a way. I see more. Let me clarify. In person, I see this. On the internet, I see some slightly different stuff. But in person, when I'm actually talking to people face to face, this is what I observe. I see more passion. I see more enthusiasm. I see more excitement and devotion to the characters and to the comics that they love from women than I do from men. From men, I see more of a I've never said this before. This is interesting. I often see more of a kind of a passive ownership of things that they love. Now, I'm not criticizing that. It feels a little bit more like, if you've always had a swimming pool in your backyard since you were 10 years old, when people come over to your house and they're like, oh my God, you got a swimming pool. You're like, yeah, I got a swimming pool. But it feels a little bit like that. Not that they don't love their swimming pool, but it's just like, it's not a new, exciting thing. Yeah. And I feel like comics are actively, in some cases, courting and appealing to younger women in particular, saying, like, we've got stuff for you. And they're going, oh, holy shit, there is stuff here. It's not just punches and boobs and, so forth. So I see that.
That's cool. We do have a couple of people who are commenting,
Yes.
of course, when it comes to our various feeds that we're heading out to.
Are they mad at me by saying, like, dude, set your alarm? I was awake. I swear to God.
They are being very generous. It's when you're talking about the audience that you're seeing, and certainly the women that you're seeing in the 20s and 30s. You've got the Andy. Some of us are in our 40s. Lol.
And some are old.
And some of it, and Karen's session, a little bit older.
I'm pleased to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that those folks have been around too. And like, I think that to me, the ideal space would be one in which people loved like a cross section of comics or a cross section of movies, for example, so that, you know, if you're 25 and you're reading a new book that is specifically targeted at you, a 25-year-old woman, I would hope that by the time you're 35, you can spread out into the things that were interesting before that time that weren't necessarily targeted toward that person. For example, The Dark Knight Returns, which I think is like, has one of the strongest female characters that nobody talks about. Carrie Kelly, I think, is one of the greatest female characters in superhero comics. I don't read tons of superhero comics anymore, but I love that character. So the way in which that's a reaction, if someone says, I'm in my 40s and I'm a woman and I've been reading comics, I say, I think that's great because they were able to find things that weren't necessarily targeted at them and see the beauty in those too.
Sure. Karen's session, some of us even remember when comics cost 12 cents. So
yeah.
That's we've also got Super Catchick talking about the business when it comes to signatures. I guess I've always made a point to buy a print or a book if asking for a signature. It would just feel weird just getting a signature when the artist is spending their time and money to be there, which is fully justifiable. And yeah, I think that's a good way to put that. And Super Catchick,
I agree with that. It's always a little weird when somebody just comes up with a little, you know, a little thing and says, hey, would you sign this? Like, yeah. I don't mind it, but I'm always like, do you even know who I am? Like, do you know what I do? So yeah, I agree.
And then Super Catchick, I also always want my items personalized, hoping that will convey that it is for me and not for eBay. That's
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that's I mean, we were talking about an example here in the UK when MCM was taken over by Repop. So Repop were doing a lot to bring international talent to the UK, and they brought the likes of John Romita Jr. over. You also had Frank Miller. You had Andy Cuba. It was a great list. Yes. And John Romita was really concerned about the fact that he wasn't actually charging for signatures while the likes of Frank Miller was beside him, and there was all this money changing hand. He was feeling a little disconcerted about it. At which point, my other half convinced him, well, how about putting a tub down? We'll organize it with the charity that I raise money for. If anyone wants to donate to the charity in lieu of a signature fee, as it were, and they made something like 1,500 quid over the course of a weekend. And I like the idea of, say, something going towards the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund,
or ACTA, or one of those other places, yes,
or a charity that benefits the comics community. I think that's a good idea.
You know, I agree with that. I'll tell you the wrinkle of conventions that we haven't discussed yet, and that's con crud and illness.
Yes.
Which I still don't know what to do about. Like, I use hand sanitizer like mad. I try not to do it right after shaking somebody's hand, though, because that looks terrible. It's a pleasure to meet you. You know,
my hands get rid of all of them.
Yeah. But like, for example, right now I've got this cold that I'm sure I got from the con, and it's particularly bad for people like me because, like, I rarely leave the house. You know, I'm home alone, except with my girlfriend, who, by the way, is a nurse, so she's probably bringing all kinds of illness in on her scrubs. You know, but so I don't really have an awful lot of immunity.
No.
Yeah, in New York. Yeah. So.
Well, I skate unscathed, but
that's probably the biggest bummer of cons, is like that, there's a good chance that you're going to lose a day. Like, you lose roughly a day on either side to travel, if it's any significant distance, and then knowing you may lose another day or two to the plague, that's kind of a bummer.
I personally think yes, it's the amount of interaction that you have with people, and that's obviously going to raise the percentage and possibility of you getting conquered. I think it's just the sheer exhaustion of putting time into a convention.
And you'll run down all the time.
You run down all the time, and that's going to just hit your immune system to go with. So I personally think it's just the sheer effort that we all put in to attend these shows.
Maybe people should be made to be ill at the beginning of the show to get out of the way, like you have with, when you get an injection.
Right.
Like a flu injection. Maybe we should all be exposed to some horrible disease at the beginning of the show just to get out of the way.
We should just be exposed to polio. Walk in the door.
There's your badge. There's your souvenir guide.
And there's your disease.
There's your Ebola. Congratulations.
And, here's a vial of blood. Now, spill it on you, and you're good.
Okay, unfortunately, we are going to get turfed out of the venue, so we are going to have to wrap this up. And it's a shame that we couldn't continue talking, because I think it feels that there's plenty of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Just to wrap up with
let's do it again, and I'll be on time next time. I swear. I'd love to talk. So.
We've got ourselves just a couple more comments. Sarita P talking about the raising of money for charities. That's what a lot of artists did at East Coast Comic Con. That money went to the Legal Defense Fund instead of their pockets. I don't mind contributing to that. I think that's, like I say, a continuation of that suggestion. And then to wrap things up, talking about the age group of people coming to you. Michael P, I remember when comics were on stone tablets.
Which of course.
Okay.
What can we say?
I personally remember the first Detective Comics, which was a buffalo on the side of a wall. So yeah, that's all well and good. Brilliant stuff. Listen, thank you so much indeed for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Like I say, I think we could continue and get into all sorts of bits and pieces. But I certainly would like to say congratulations on the success of Stumptown. It's certainly not a slavish interpretation of the book, because Dex in the book is very much someone who looks like she's had a nose and a jaw broken down the line. The television version is a little bit pretty, but then again, unless we're going to go around smacking actresses in the face, I don't think we're going to be doing that anytime soon. But Matthew, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, and again, apologies for messing it up. And anytime you want me, I'll make it up to you.
No worries.
Thank you. Take care.
For the rest of your Sunday.
Thank you. Take it easy.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Excellent. Excellent.
Right.
So there you go. So Super Cat Chick, I'm a firm believer that Bloody Mary every morning kills Conquered.
Whiskey, hot toddy perhaps?
I'm a big fan of some really strong spice in my eggs.
Oh really?
Like a golden it's a golden yolk. So there we go. So there we go. Right, we are going to wrap things up because we're going to head off.
We're about to get chucked out.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. It's been a fun show. I've enjoyed this. It's been slightly longer than we usually have it, so I hope you've enjoyed what we've brought you. We have really only just touched on the badge sale, but what I was saying, the badge sale has had a very specific way of operating for the last 4 years, and it hasn't changed for a very good reason. It does what it needs to do for San Diego Comic-Con, for Comic-Con International, and for Epic Logic as well. The idea is to make sure that their servers aren't crashing, that people are getting a fair crack of the whip. And I know that several people have been disappointed this time around that perhaps they haven't gotten all the days that they want. Let's just hope that when open registration happens, that those days are made up. And hopefully, if you took part in the badge sale yesterday, you got some of the badges that you wanted. For,
I still think the Hunger Games concept is one that should be explored again.
You really do want to push that button, don't you?
Well, you know, I mean, you know, crossbows are cheap and easy these days. You know, people need to get fitter because they'll keep.
I like the old gladiators idea. Let's get some pupil sticks out there.
Why
and just
not?
make
And
it
some
fun.
gladius.
Absolutely.
I think that would make it a very entertaining process to get. And you'd appreciate getting your ticket because you would survive the process, quite literally. So
the thing
I'm
is,
just throwing it out there again, you know, in case they're listening. You know,
as a non-athlete, I'm
me too
not
as well,
overly fond on the idea, but we'll see what we can do. We are indeed, but we're heading out the door very shortly indeed. Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed, Joel. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very
Leonard,
much.
always my pleasure. Thank you very much.
What was the phrase that we had to say?
Oh, it was the two Ronnies.
Oh yes, it was. And well, good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
There you go. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we
don't
will
get
see
too wet.
Oh, of course, and we'll see you on the other side.
Take care.
You too.
I tried to leave you as long as I
Sorry.